Hello, people of Lagos. Welcome to another thrilling episode of Amazing Amazon on Captain TV. Hope you enjoyed the last episode of the show. Trust me to always bring to you great content, bring to you Amazons that will inspire and motivate you as a female gender, as a woman, as a lady. This is the program where you get inspired. So don't go anywhere. It's about to get started. Call your friends and tell them that it's Amazing Amazon o'clock. I am Tosin Adeyemi. Every woman is gifted and blessed, but the ability for you to identify that potential, that skill that you are blessed with, and the ability for you to be able to pass it across to the next generation make you a success as a woman. So today we'll be discussing becoming a woman of impact and influence. It's not enough for you to be a woman, but you must be a woman who has potentials, value to offer the next generation. So on the interview segment today, I will be having this discussion with my guest, someone who has been making an impact and influencing a generation, adding value, impact to people, to share with us how to become that great woman of personality, how to become that great Amazon. So join me on the interview segment. All right, so welcome to the interview part of the discussion segment where we get to interview our Amazons. And today I have with me a very important person. She is a people development professional, corporate trainer. She's a public speaker. She's a career coach, an author, and she has over 7 years experience in business consulting and advisory, learning and organizational development, and HR generalist function, cutting across various sectors, and many more as you can. I cannot read the whole profile. So she is no other person but Oluwatoyin Sodipe, Mrs. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't want to read your whole profile because I know that it's a lot. So I want you to introduce yourself properly. Tell us more about yourself aside what I've said.
Okay. So my name is Oluwatoyin Sodipe, and I'm an HR people development professional. I'm also a career coach, a public speaker, a corporate trainer. I have about 7 years experience in HR consulting, business advisory, learning and organizational development. I have my first degree in psychology from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and also a second degree at the University of Lagos, where I focused on human resources. I've spent the last 6 to 7 years, just in the people development space, in the HR space, practicing human resources for various organizations, both in-house and external organizations. So that's a bit of my profile.
Okay. All right. Now, looking at what you do now, into so many that you are into, can you say that you are living your childhood dream, like what you have always wanted to become?
That's an interesting question. When we were kids, today we say we want to be a doctor. Yeah. Tomorrow we want to be a lawyer. Next tomorrow we want to be Exactly. Next tomorrow we want to be a pilot. Yeah. So in all honesty, I don't know if it's a childhood dream, but I think I'll just say I'm really doing what I want to do. I'm exactly where I want to be. I'm doing what gives me joy, what gives me fulfillment. So I don't know if it's a childhood dream, but I'll say I'm exactly where I want to be in terms of my career and my profession, and how far I have come. Yeah.
But you don't include that also brings food to your table.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so tell us more about how would you describe your childhood experience? Some people will say, my childhood experience was this, yes, I was born with a silver spoon, some will say wooden spoon, some will say plastic spoon. So which of the spoons?
Interesting. I wasn't exactly born with a silver spoon or a gold spoon. Of course, I grew up in an average family of 6. I'm the only girl in the middle of 3 boys. I have 2 elder brothers who are twins, so I'm Idowu. and I have a younger brother who is Alaba. So I grew up in an average family, but closely knitted. My dad and my mom have always been supportive and are still very supportive. So we had that bond. They would, they've given us a lot of trainings right from when we're young. They instilled values in us early enough. So there were things we could not do. There were things, that we could do. And, they would always go the extra mile to give us the things that we needed to succeed in life. So even though maybe we didn't have a lot of money, we're not the usual wealthy family, but we had the resources that we needed, to progress in our education, our career journey, and every area of our life. So we were really that kind of a family.
Okay,
yeah.
So being the only girl, how did you feel then, like the only girl?
Interesting. I won't exactly say I was pampered, but I would say I was quite doted on. I don't know if I'm my dad's favorite child, but I know that my dad loves me. Maybe because I'm the only girl. But it was always interesting, everybody doting on you, everybody trying to take care of you. I remember when I got into university, my brothers were already in university as well, and they would constantly bring food for me. They would come and check up on me.
That's still pampering now. I'm the only girl.
Exactly, but they would also correct me when I did things wrong. So I wasn't left to just, because she's the only girl, let her, exactly. They were there to guide me, to correct me, and just really hold my hands when I needed that support. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about tell us what you are mostly passionate about right now.
So, from my back, what I'm mostly passionate about is people development. And that's why I usually introduce myself, not just as an HR professional, but also people development. Because I think that people are the most important asset of an organization. My desire is to see everyone, especially women, grow into who they want to be in life, grow into a successful, thriving woman. And so what gives me joy, what gives me passion is when I see young women who know what they want to do with their life, what they want to do with their businesses, who are succeeding not just in business or in career, but also in their marriage, in their finances, who are living holistically a successful life. I think that's what really gives me passion. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. So I could be speaking, from now till tomorrow. It's just the joy of being able to pass knowledge, being able to share, and help other young ladies, other young women, step into their own and own their journey. Yes.
I believe for every passion that one have, there must be something that actually triggered it for it to happen. Okay, now you said you studied psychology back then. So did you pick the course yourself or your parents did? Or because of what you were going to? Let me, just give me the answer to that.
Okay. When I got into school in 2008, it wasn't actually to do psychology. So I wanted to do medicine, but as JAMB just, happened, I got botany. So they gave me botany to study. And when I got into part one, I was like, I don't understand. Medicine, botany, from studying human beings to studying plants. I didn't know I could not even almost pronounce the course. So I started to try to change my course from my part one to my part two. And there's this law in OAU that if you are not on a 1-point GP, they don't release you from a department as long as you're not failing anyway. But I wasn't enjoying the course. It didn't look like what I wanted to do. So finally in my part three, it felt like maybe at some point I started, failing intentionally. I didn't even know what happened. But I realized that in part three, my GP had dropped to 0.96, which meant that I was on probation. So if by the next semester I didn't move to a 1 point, I was going to be asked to withdraw. And I looked at myself and said, no, this is not me. This is not what I want to do with my life. So thankfully for me, I got accepted into psychology. I got to cross into psychology. In the second year of psychology, we started to take these interesting courses. And there was one course in psychology that was industrial and organizational psychology. That's the part where you find human resources, organizational behavior, and all of those things. And we started to learn about people dynamics, how people are important to the organization, what people are made of, what motivates people. And it was just really interesting for me that this is what I really want to be doing. I want to help people thrive. I want to help organizations develop their people. And so that's how we developed, right? From moving from botany to psychology, learning about these courses, and I said, okay, I think HR is what I want to do, and that's how that passion came about for me.
Okay, so back then in school, you were the book type. You will say that.
Maybe somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle.
Okay, no, now tell us, while you were in school, tell us, maybe do you experience any sort of like bullying or any trauma back then in school that you cannot forget?
That's quite interesting. And honestly, I don't think there was any bullying or any trauma because I think one of the things that, I would also talk about my parents is my parents instilled a sort of strength into me. In fact, I almost believe that women were stronger or better than boys growing up because my dad didn't let me feel like, oh, because I'm a lady, I should be relegated. I had a lot of strength. I had a lot of support. My dad would constantly encourage me and motivate me. So when I got into school, I was vocal. I was assertive. I was hardly bullied or never even bullied because I would stand up for myself. So I was literally brainwashed to think that women were strong people in that sense. So I don't think I had any moments of bullying, as it were.
Okay. All right, so let's fast forward to after school. So after school, what step did you take next?
So when I graduated in 2014, I came to Lagos. It took about maybe another year for NYSC to happen. So immediately I got into Lagos, I started to look for a place where I could intern. Because I think one of the things that has always been very peculiar with me is I don't like being idle. So even then back in OAU, anytime we would go on strike, which happened a lot, I would usually go and get an holiday job just to keep my hands busy, just to learn, just to get people to mentor me. So when I came to Lagos, NYSC had not happened yet, so I immediately went to look for an internship, a place where I could learn, where I could also grow, where I could just know, what it feels like to be in a work environment. So I got an internship in the HR space. So I was working, with my bosses, learning HR, learning a lot of basic HR. And from there, that's how I have grown in my career, from one organization to another, from one sector to another. And here I am today.
All right. So far, so good. What would you say life has taught you, as a lesson that you've held on to and has been helping you grow, even in your career and in your life?
Okay. So lessons that life has taught me. There's a line my dad used to say. I mean, it was not founded by my dad, but it was one line that he used to say a lot. It would say, "Tough times never last, only tough people do." And growing up, I didn't really, understand him. I would just be like, it's another quote. But as I started to grow, that sentence or that quote made so much sense because, of course, my life has not always been rosy. I've had some trials, some challenges, some moments, some low moments. And I think that statement has really helped me to say, the season that I am in, even though it's not the season that I want to be, will not last forever. It would come and it would go. So I may be in a low moment today, but after a while, I get into a happy moment. I get into my season of thriving, my season of rejoicing. So when challenges come my way, when it feels like I hit a roadblock and I don't know what to do, those words just keep ringing in my head that tough times never last. So I have to, gather strength, learn the lessons I want to learn in those seasons and move on from there, knowing that I will not always be in this position. And I think that has really helped me, a lot. Another quote that I would say has also really helped me is a favorite one by my coach, Debola Dikoromi. And she would always say, when you have a vision, you don't need permission. And I think that's really helped me because, sometimes as women, because there are barriers that stand against us, there are things that stand as stumbling block, glass ceilings to shatter. You sometimes feel like you need someone to validate you before you do something or you excel. But when she says, when you have a vision, you don't need permission, is that when I have a burning idea on my inside, an idea that can help people, that can save people, I don't need someone to validate me. I just go ahead, I get into execution and I do what I have to do. And that has really helped me a lot, not to try and crave an attention that is not there, but go out, and do what I'm supposed to do and get it done. Yes.
Okay, now, I know life is full of ups and downs, and there are so many challenging moments, situations, but can you share with us one of the most challenging period of your life and how you actually handled it?
Okay, maybe apart from the one that I had in school when I wanted to cross, because it was such a difficult time because botany wasn't releasing me, psychology wasn't accepting me yet. So it meant like I was floating in school and I didn't know, if my education was going to be over at this point, and that was such a down moment for me. I felt like, how did I get here? It was hard, it was tough, but I thank God, for strength, for the support from my friends, and eventually. But I think one that also really shook me was when I lost my friend and my sister, Muradion Balogun. I don't know if you heard about the news about 2 years ago. And it really shook me because I've known this person all my life. We had dreams that we wanted to achieve. She was this bright, intentional young lady. Like, I would never have imagined, that this is what I would be saying about her. Someone who she had a strong vision to change the world through fashion, help a lot of young women. She was an inspiration to me. And just in the prime of her life, it got cut short. And it was a really difficult moment because I'm not sure if I've ever lost anyone that close. It was really hard. And how did I get through? I would say God really helped me. God just gave me peace. And knowing that there are so many lives that she had impacted in our short years, it was just really inspiring to see a lot of people say, Muradion taught me this. I never met her, but she taught me this. She was so intentional. She was focused. She was such a disciplined young girl. It was just knowing that gave me some comfort that this girl lived fully. She lived her life to the fullest, even though she was young, and that's a moment in my life, that, I won't forget.
Okay. So now, looking at your career and what you do now, who would you say you has been an inspiration to you, or like a mentor that you're actually saying, oh no, this person is someone you can actually emulate or even get inspired by him or her?
I'm sure I probably mentioned her name. I think it would be DDK, Debola Dijikoromi. I like to call her an image of possibility because she models what a strong, focused, successful woman looks like. And not just success in terms of acquiring wealth or acquiring money, because I believe that the true success of anybody is the lives that you change, either through your words, through your books, through your teachings. And she's someone who has modeled, a lot of values for me, both in the career space, in ministry, in marriage, in all areas of our life. So she's one person that I would say I really look up to. She's my coach. She's taught me so many things that she has taught me that I really hold on there, and that's really helped me in life. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. We need to talk about the marital aspect. Would you like to talk about it?
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. So tell us, how did you meet your spouse?
Oh, okay. I met my spouse here in Lagos in 2015. December 2015. We were attending the same church. There was someone who connected us. I used to do spoken word, and he also used to do voiceover. So the person just said, oh, meet this person. You can give him some of your scripts. He can voice it for you. So we're just friends in the beginning. And 2016, of course, friendship grew into something deeper. And then we started to date. 2016, we dated for 3 years. And we got married in 2019. And this is 2022. So we're going to be 3 years in marriage in a few weeks. Yeah, November 26th. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so now in marriage, what would you say you have has really changed about you before and after marriage? What has marriage taken from you, or what has marriage given you? Yes, I know in marriage you learn a lot and you drop some things and you add some things. So tell us about it.
Marriage has taught me, first of all, patience.
That's
a lot of patience, because sometimes because of my strong personality, I can come off as a bit impatient, a bit forceful, a bit strong, because I just want to get everything done, like bam, 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 everything, but in marriage, it has taught me a lot of patience, because the fact that I'm quick to do things does not mean I'm doing the right things. But you know, having someone else who takes their time to analyze certain situations, to help you think it through before you make a decision, having someone to consult who can say, okay, if I'm looking at it from this angle, okay, this is what you should do. Try not to do this. This might be good, this might not be good. So it's taught me a lot of patience, right? Because two people in marriage are not exactly the same persons,
Sure.
right? So patience to understand where they're coming from, their own perspectives, their own opinions, their own ideas. But I think marriage has also been beautiful because you now have one other person who is working life with you, who is working this journey, you know, called life with you, in their support, praying together, you know, having someone who can speak to you, counsel you, who you can just share beautiful moments with. I think that's really special. So yes, these are things that marriage has taught me.
Okay. All right. So now, I would also like to ask another question. Since you've been married, can you tell us something that gives you so much joy? Because I asked the question, you've not answered. I said, what has, okay, you said marriage has taught you patience. So apart from patience, what else would you say that it has really taken from you, marriage has taken from you? Okay, let me give you an instance. I know of someone who said, oh, before I got married, every Friday I don't sleep at home. I go clubbing, I do this, I do that. But after marriage, oh, my husband doesn't want me to go out. He doesn't want me to do this. He doesn't. There's someone that said, oh, my husband doesn't want me to wear trousers. My husband doesn't want me to invite to. My husband does not allow me to bring friends to the house. My husband doesn't allow me to do this. So that's why I'm asking you that.
Okay. That's actually interesting because I wouldn't exactly say I have that. For me, marriage has been. So when you say what has marriage taken away from me, I would say maybe marriage has taken a stubborn part of me away, which is a good thing. But in terms of maybe things that I used to do before that marriage, I don't think there's anything. Why? Because before I even got married, I've always been this, I mean, I hardly go out. I would usually spend time in my house, maybe sleeping or reading a book or just hanging out with my friends, you know, so I wasn't the going out type. And because the kind of marriage that I share with my husband, it's a team marriage, right? We are equals in this marriage. So there's nothing that I was doing before that my husband has said, oh, stop doing, you can't go out to see friends, because we are friends. There's a friendship that we share in marriage. So I don't think there's really anything that I used to do that I say, oh, now stop doing, because the person I was before marriage is almost still the same person. I'm just growing and evolving, right, in character, in maturity, in my, you know, sense of knowledge and all of those things. So there's really nothing that marriage is taking away from me. If for anything, is helping me to become a better person, you know, adding to me, helping me to learn a lot of things about life. So yes, that's what, you know, marriage has done for me.
Okay, thank you. So that's the message to everyone who is not married yet. Marry your friend. That is the key word. Yes. Marry your friend. Okay, so now you can say that your husband is so supportive, especially what you do now. He's so supportive about it. All right. So we'll go on a short break now. So when we come back, we'll now talk more about your career. All right, viewers, stay with us. We'll be back after this time out. Welcome back to the final lap of the discussion part. I have been speaking with Mrs. Oluwatoyin Sodipe. Okay, now let's talk about what you do. So, how many years, how long have you been doing what you're doing now professionally?
For about 7 to 8 years. Yes, I've been doing this profession for about 7 to 8 years.
7 to 8 years. Yeah. Now, I want to talk about being a woman of influence, of impact. So how would you describe what does it mean to be a woman of influence? Let's begin with that.
Okay. For me, I would say that a woman of influence is someone who has a positive impact on another person, whether male or female. Someone who has characters and values that are worthy of emulation, you know, that can help to impact other people's lives to become better, to be able to realize their potentials and also serve the world with their best self. So that's who a woman of influence is to me. Someone who has characters, traits, values, positive values that are worthy of emulation, that can help other people to become best version of themselves.
Okay, you talked about realizing your potential. How can you even know that you have any potential? Let's focus on the younger ones now. Because we have so many girls who do not even know what they want to become. Just like when you said that when you were younger, you never knew what you wanted to do. And, you know, jam gave you psychology. Yes. So now, how would you even know that you have potential in you, and how can you discover it as a lady?
I think the first thing to really discovering your potential is, starting from the basics, which is paying attention to yourself, paying attention to your strengths, your weaknesses, your talents. Everybody has natural gifts and talents. Everybody has a purpose. So one thing is to be self-aware, which is that what are the things that I do so well? For example, when I was young, it might not even come so surprising to me now that I'm doing HR, I'm doing corporate training, because when I was young, I used to be the vocal one. I was in literary and debating, I was in the newscasting club. I always had tendency to want to talk, to want to meet people, to want to encourage people. So it's not far-fetched from what I'm doing now. So I would say, first of all, pay attention to your strengths. What are the things that you do naturally? If it's music, maybe growing up, you used to be the one that would carry drums and disturb everybody in the house. It could be a pointer to what you would do eventually in life. So pay attention to your strengths, your weaknesses, your natural talents, gifts and abilities, right? I would also say have a growth mindset, in the sense that what you know about yourself, you can evolve, it can change. So if maybe early in the days you used to like singing, and as you start to grow, you feel like, oh, okay, I think I like acting now. You can't just stay with singing and say, it's only singing I can do for life. You can evolve. There are many parts of you as a woman that you can explore. So develop a growth mindset. Always want to learn about yourself. Always want to learn about the world around you. What is happening in the environment? What is the world doing? That is where you pick ideas from, right? Another thing would be to surround yourself with people that support you. Because sometimes we might be so distracted that sometimes we don't even see ourselves in the light that we should see ourselves, because of maybe past traumas or past failures. We look down on ourselves. But when you surround yourself with friends or people who believe in you, or when you are in an environment that enables you to push out your potentials, somebody would see you and say, I think you do this thing so well. I think this might be you. I think you should go in this area. Now, it doesn't mean that they are the most dominant voice in your life. It just means that they also help to point you to areas you might be missing about yourself, right? So also surround yourself with, people who want the best for you, because they are likely to help you to see your potentials, what you can do, and just keep growing, basically. Keep growing, keep learning. Yes.
All right, you talked about surrounding yourself with people that would help you, that will bring out the potential in you. But what if you are surrounded with people that you cannot do without, like your parents or your siblings, that you cannot do without, and they are not in support of your vision or your dreams? So what would such a person do?
I think that's an interesting question, because I know for a fact that there are people who are in that space who probably have dreams and potentials, whose parents are not supportive, or who don't have friends that are supportive. Here's one thing I always like to tell people, to say, our parents have brought us into this world, and we're thankful for that. But there are certain decisions that we need to make. And sometimes even the people that are closest to you will not believe it. Sometimes the passion and the purpose that you have, the closest people to you, your family members, might not even believe. And I'll give an example, because I'm a Christian. I'll give an example of Jesus Christ. When Jesus came, people said, can anything good come out of Samaria? Right? People didn't even believe that it was Jesus. He could save the world. In fact, sometimes he had to be his own family who say, let's go on this trip. We're not waiting to read any book in the temple today. And so we can't allow our family members or our friends, to be the only reasoning voice in our lives. So if you need to have a conversation with your family to say, look, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm passionate about. Sometimes you might also want to consult someone. And I'll give you an example. When I wanted to leave Ife to come to Lagos, I remember that, being the only girl, my dad, I traveled then out of the country. He didn't want me to go because, of course, I had family back in Osun State, and he will say, no, just stay there. And I understood that it was from a place of love. He wanted to keep me. He wanted to protect me. I have a big daddy, and then my big daddy called him and said, let this girl go and do what she wants to do. She wants to do HR. She wants to get a job. Give her some time. If she doesn't excel at it, then you can call her back. But at least let her try. And so what that means is that sometimes, because of the protection and the preservation, because they want to keep you safe, right? They don't allow you to explore. And like my coach will always say, you can't be safe and significant at the same time. So you need to step out of your comfort zone, the places that you love to stay and hide, where you're just, chummy. Sometimes take risk and step into the fullness of your potential. Yeah, so that's what I would say.
Okay. So now what you're saying is that if you find yourself in that kind of situation, you should look around, as in look for people who can, or you talk to your parents about it.
Yes, you talk to
because
your parents.
Because we have parents who will impose even the course that their children will study in school. I actually know a lady wanted to study photography, but the parents said, no, how would you be a photographer? You would be a lawyer. And the lady said, no, this is what I have passion for. So now she's studying law, but she's not happy doing it. And there was nothing she could do. She can't just walk out of the house or decide that, I want to sponsor myself through education. So we have so many people in that shoes right now who will now waste 4 years of their life studying a course that they don't have passion for. So upon graduation, they'll now go back to that vision that they want to be. So now, what would you like to say to parents like that?
Yeah. My advice to parents would be, I know that, they are there to guide us, they are there to help us and direct us, but I would beg that please, as long as your child is not, trying to go on the wrong path, whatever career that they have chosen, let them explore, let them try it out first. If they now don't succeed from it, right, you can now maybe give them other options, but don't impose ideas on them. For example, people that started to play football, I'm sure back in those days, when you're playing football, they will say, oh, you're unserious. But everybody now wants their child to take football classes after school, because they see the kind of money that is coming. And so you don't know what that career, you don't know what that course would become. We have top photographers, people who are official photographers to the presidents and the vice presidents. Yeah. I'm sure back then they'll be like photography. But look at what he's doing for them now, right? Whatever profession it is, whether teaching, whether cooking, whether hairstyling, you have people that we can model in these industries. So please, parents, let your child explore. That's what we're supposed to do. That's why God has given us this creative mind. There's no one way to success. There are many ways to success, as long as it's not, it's not a negative way. There are so many positive ways and positive journey to success.
I guess it's also coming from the angle of their expectations. The expectation of a parent will be like, oh, I've trained you through school, I expect you to graduate and start earning money, and if you don't get this white collar job, so some parents believe that only white collar job will give you that real and lucrative job. But now they never knew that things are changing, that there are even some soft skills that you even earn better even than those white collar jobs. Okay, now to people who have actually discovered their potential, just like you said, that you should look out for what you love to do, your strengths. Now, what are those barriers that you know that you cannot do without? You will surely meet them on your road to achieving that success.
I think one barrier that is common, that people would usually face, is the barrier of self-doubt, or what I like to call imposter syndrome. Because you would get to a point in your career or in your life where you feel like, am I really worthy of this thing? Should I be doing this thing? That's a barrier, that you would come across. And you can't stay there. You can't accept that voice in your head that tells you that, oh, you're not worthy of this thing. Who are you? You can't. But those voices will come because it's trying to discourage you from really becoming who you want to be. And the first thing is, you need to be able to gather inner strength. You need to be able to, create emotional stability for yourself. to say, no, I'm not going to stay in this place. I deserve whatever I have now. I deserve this success that I have. I deserve this progress that I'm making. I deserve this advancement. So the first thing is, you will get to a point where, you almost don't believe in yourself, or even people around you don't believe in you. But once you have a vision, like I said earlier, that my coach will always say, you don't need permission. You go for what you want, right? So that's one thing that would usually happen. I think another barrier you might face is maybe finances, because sometimes what you really love to do, you might not make quick money or immediate money. And that's why anytime you want to set out on a journey, the first thing is to find your why. Why are you doing this thing? I know that we are in an economy or in a situation whereby money is important. Of course, money is definitely important. But beyond money, there should be a burning passion to want to help people, to want to save lives. So if you know why you are doing this thing, it would help you in those moments where it feels like maybe the finances are not coming through. In fact, for young people who are just starting their career, I can almost tell you that you might not make the kind of money that you are looking for in the first 2 to 3 years of your career. Because if it's an internship, you are still learning. They'll probably give you maybe a monthly stipend, lunch, but that hammer, you will not hammer in 3 years. You will not blow in 3 years. So it takes a lot of patience, because it's your learning phase, right? So don't be all about the money at first. As you start to grow, what you acquire in terms of knowledge and expertise is what will be paying you later on, right? So I for one, when I started, I can't even tell you what I was earning, moving from the mainland to the island every day as a young graduate. But now, the money that I was not even making in a month then, I make times 3 of it sometimes in a day, just by maybe how many hours, coaching or speaking. So don't be too quick, to give up when the resources are not coming. You need to push through. Find a support system that can help you, people that can give you counsel, that can give you advice, that can give you some resources that you need, right? So those are some things that, I would say.
Okay, so now what would you like to say about volunteering? Because now, for someone who sees, like someone who looks up to you now as a mentor, you inspire me a lot, I want to be like you, and probably want to we are just like you said that finance might be a barrier. Like I want to volunteer in an organization that I know that, yes, this is where I'm going and I want to volunteer. There are so many things that are not allowing people to do it. So what would you say volunteering, the impact of volunteering in achieving your goal?
I think that volunteering is such a great way to even start out when you're trying to learn something or acquire new knowledge. Sometimes I like to call myself professional volunteer, because when I started in my career, I would do a lot of volunteering. The people that I look up to now, I didn't have money to pay them then to coach me or to teach me. But when they had events, I would go there, I would do ushering, I would do registration, information desk, and all of those things. So volunteering is very important because it helps you to acquire knowledge early enough, right? It might not pay you the kind of money that you're looking for, but is one of the best ways for you to acquire quick knowledge. It exposes you to a lot of opportunities, a lot of resources, a lot of people, in that even as you progress in your career, years later, some of the people that you volunteer for, even though they could not pay you then, they might be the ones needing your service now, right? And I have, so many examples of people that I've volunteered for before, and now they are able to, pay me for the service that I'm offering them. So volunteering is such a great way. And as young people, like I said, I know that we're looking for, I do something for you now, you give me back. But sometimes life is not like that.
Like nothing goes for nothing.
Nothing goes for nothing, right? You need to also pay your dues first. Learn as much as you can learn. Go for knowledge, go for expertise. Once you start to grow, the money that you're looking for will come. Because people will not pay you for just having a fine face or just coming around. People pay you for the value that you're bringing. And early enough, you might not be bringing so much value, but you can volunteer. As you start to grow, people would exchange currency for that value you're bringing. So volunteering is such a good way to start out in your career.
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to take your reaction on women who don't support their fellow gender.
I think this, this conversation, we will keep having it, until
till thy kingdom comes.
Till thy kingdom come, But I wish that we would have more understanding quicker, because we're doing more harm to ourselves than good when we don't support each other. Already, the society has a lot of barriers that stands against women. It's already there. And it's been right from, you have the cultural barrier, you have the societal barrier. There's even the barrier in the workplace, where sometimes men are being paid more than women who do the same kind of work or even do lesser work. So there's already that barrier. When you hear the word glass ceilings, they don't use it with men, they use it with women. So we also have that barrier in the workplace. The question now is, what do we need to do to push through these barriers? One person can't do it alone. So we're not in a competition against ourselves. We're supposed to support each other and push each other. One person's success should be everybody's success. And you see that happen a lot in the male environment, with male genders. They're constantly supporting each other. When one person stands up, all of us are standing up. And that's how we should be for women, because we have more things standing against us. One person can't push through it. We need to hold hands together and push through it. You affect one person, you have affected everybody. We need that support, right? We need to keep on encouraging ourselves, inspiring one another, motivating one another. We're not in competition, because competition would take us far. We already have the barriers that are standing against us. So what must we do to cross over these barriers quickly and fast?
I had a conversation with someone and asking this same question. So the person said the reason why women don't support one another, that one of the reasons is because the reason why men are doing better than us is because men, they do apprenticeship, but women do not. Yes, a woman will prefer to be trained like under a man. That, just like that. But why is it that we don't like to, when someone is doing well, you are doing well, I love what you do, and I also want to do what you're doing. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for me to just come and learn under you? So I think that is one thing that is missing and lacking in the female gender.
I think sometimes it could also be this independence word that we have preached for a long time, that the definition of a strong woman is an independent woman, a woman that does it alone, a woman that carries the whole world on her head. And that's not it. That's not the definition of strong that I want to acquire. I need support. And I am not ignorant of the fact that there are things that I cannot do by myself. I need my sisters. I need people who can stand with me, who can pray for me. There are opportunities that I need in certain places that I need women to be able to speak for me. And I think as women, we should do a lot more by speaking to ourselves. So I don't dispute the fact that maybe sometimes some people don't want to train under women, maybe because of their experiences, right? Maybe they've had with female bosses, or,
right. Female bosses are always toxic.
Exactly. I hear those things around, and I don't even dispute that fact. So this conversation happens on two spectrums. One spectrum is, as females, we need to do better. We need to be much more kinder to ourselves. We need to be much more encouraging. If you're a senior female, the junior female is not your competition. They are not intimidating. They are not there to come and take your position. Your joy should be that someone who is learning under you is growing to even become, they want to become the you that they see today. Yeah. That should be your joy. And so every resources, everything that they need, every support you give to them, because the testament of one person should be your joy. So we're not competing about anything. And also for younger people, don't have a perception already in your mind that says, oh, female bosses, no. You also have to put yourself out there. You have to explore, and you have to be kinder, right? I think that sometimes the reason why it can be like that is sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, there are some people who expect things to be given to them on a platter because they are women. Absolutely not. Nobody is going to give you something because you're a woman. If we're constantly shouting for equality, it's not women above men and it's not men above women. We're saying equal, yes. Right? So the same kind of work that that the man would do, the same quality, the woman should also bring the same. So we're not promoting based on quota or based on because you're a woman. Rather, we are promoting you or advancing you because you bring value to the table. So that's one conversation we need to have with ourselves as women. we are people of value. So when we come to the table, we're not coming with just English. We are coming with value, with hard work, with tenacity, with grit. Okay? So those are some of the things that we need to think about.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the word success, because I know when you hear that word, it means different things to different people. I want to hear your own definition of success. What to call a woman, this woman is a success. How would you define success? Or a successful person. Let me put it that way.
I think sometimes, the definition there's no straightway definition of success. But when I see a woman who I can call a successful woman, would be a woman who is excelling in all areas of her life. All areas of her life without having to, lose the parts of herself that are most important to her. So success is not exactly in the money. It's not about the money that they have in their bank account. Well, when I see a woman, who is able to manage her life in such a balanced way, right, in terms of a career, a marriage. So it's not that maybe in career she's excelling and in a marriage she's doing. I know that sometimes there are circumstances, that make that happen. But I think that the goal, or what we should strive for, is that a holistic, successful life, excelling, creating balance, impacting people positively. When people look at us, they want to emulate us because they see positive values, they see positive things that we're doing. So excelling in all areas of our life, I think that's what success is to me.
All right, thank you so much for that definition, because it's actually correlates with my definition as well. Because someone said, you are not a success without a successor. You need to have someone that is a success, that has been a success through you. Yeah. You have been able to add value, you have been able to impact. Yes. All right, thanks so much. So before we wrap it up, so what would be your parting shot to younger ones right now regarding this topic?
I think the first thing, to young ladies would be to believe in yourself. Believe that you are worthy, you are capable of doing whatever you set your mind to. And there's nothing stopping you. Yes, you will face some challenges on your way, but the first thing is believe that you are the girl for the job. You are the woman for the job. And go in search of knowledge. A successful woman, a woman of impact, a woman of influence knows that for her to stand, for her voice to be loud, she needs to know what she's talking about. So take your academics serious. When you get a job, take your job serious. Constantly go in search of knowledge that can help you to become a better person. And as you grow, also help other people. And that's the definition of success that we just gave, is the impacts that you make in people, the values that you transfer. So when you believe in yourself, you go in search of knowledge, and you also help other young girls that are coming behind.
All right, thank you so much. I really enjoyed every bit of our conversation, and I've learned a lot as well. I'm inspired.
Thank you so much. Thank you
so much. All right, viewers, thank you for staying with us. I hope you've learned a lot from today's interview rather. We talked about becoming a lady of influence, becoming a success. Women, we are not in competition with one another. We are there to support one another, to be kind to one another. So this is where we wrap up the interview segment. We'll take the quotes for today. Thereafter, we wrap up the show. Stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. I hope you learned a lot, especially with our guest for today, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Sodipe, speaking on how to become a lady of impact, influencing your generation, influencing the coming generation. Yes. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And this is where we wrap up the show for today. So till I come your way again next weekend, I remain your host, Tosin Adeyemi.